Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the online sessions on signals and systems. In the previous class, we have discussed about the Fourier series representation, wave symmetry, exponential Fourier series. So with that, we have completed the Fourier series part. And before we end up the Fourier series topic, we conclude the Fourier series topic with the Dirichlet conditions. So what is the Dirichlet conditions? These are the conditions which need to be satisfied, for a Fourier series. For a Fourier series, that means whenever we apply a Fourier series can be applied to a signal if it satisfies these following Dirichlet conditions. That means they can also be called as a conditions for a Fourier series to be applied to the signal is for something like a Dirichlet conditions. So the conditions under which the Fourier series can be expanded are known as the Dirichlet conditions. So in the exam, we may get a question, define Dirichlet conditions or describe Dirichlet conditions. If it is defined Dirichlet conditions, just you have to write down the conditions under which the Fourier series can be expanded are known as the Dirichlet conditions. That means if the signal is going to satisfy these three Dirichlet conditions, now that signal can be represented by using the Fourier series. That is the meaning of that particular statement. Now, what are the three Dirichlet conditions? There are three Dirichlet conditions. And one more is there, that is the last one, which is going to be fourth one, called as weak Dirichlet condition. But first three are very much essential. What is the first one? They require that in each period, the function, maybe f of t, x of t, or whatever, must have finite number of discontinuities. If you take, imagine if you take a sine wave, a simple sine wave is going to have what? Positive peak and a negative peak. So therefore, if you take one period of time period, we are normally going to have a one positive, one negative, or two positives, two negatives, three positives, three negatives. So like that, based on the frequency, the waveform is normally going to have a finite number of discontinuities. So next point is going to be in each period, the function must have a finite number of maximas and minimas. So when you draw a sine wave, it's going to have Vmax, Vm, plus Vm and minus Vm. So positive side maximum voltage, negative side maximum voltage. That is V maxima and V minima. It should have a V maxima and V minima. And that V maxima and V minima should be compulsorily uniform throughout the particular waveforms, throughout the waveform. So that is what called maximas and minimas. And last one is going to be the integral of this function must be finite. So here f of t, if it is going to be a function, now the f of t should be absolutely integrable value. That means we find out absolute value of this f of t, then we apply integration to that, it should result into a value to us. If it is going to give us a value, means what, a finite value, then it is going to be called as absolutely integrable value. That means if it is not integrable value, means what, if you could not get a value, so we really going to have a random value, then it is not going to be come under the Dirichlet conditions. So here, if it satisfies, if any signal is going to satisfy these three basic conditions, then we simply call that particular conditions are known as the Dirichlet conditions required to be satisfied for a signal to be represented as a Fourier series. Then last one is going to be the weak Dirichlet conditions, are conditions for existence or convergence of the Fourier series. So here the Fourier series should be converged. What is the meaning of convergence and divergence? Convergence is something like pencil beam. So the input to the beam is going to have multiple inputs is going to come, but they are going to get converged into a particular point. It's called a convergent beam. It is something like the beam coming out of an electron gun is going to be, divergent beam, but that is going to become converged beam because of the anode grids we connect in between, so that we guide the beam of electrons flowing through the CRO. That means we are simply converting the divergent beam into a convergent beam so that it can be focused onto the fluorescent screen of the CRO. That's what something like, convergent beam. And a convergent means what? It should lead to a value. That means in a Fourier series we have got many harmonic components, a naught, a n, b n, all these components we have got. Now a n into cos n omega naught t for a infinite number of harmonics. Similarly, bn into sin omega naught t for infinite number of components. So that means we get infinite number of components. So all these components resultant value should converge to a value. That's what called existence of a Fourier series. Now, if it is, it can be satisfied with the exponential Fourier series as well, which is we discussed just now in the previous session. So f of t is equal to what we can have? Sigma of fn e to the power j n omega naught t, where fn is normally going to have what? 1 by t integral of f of t power minus j n omega naught t dt. And is e power j theta, that is the exponential part of this. If you find out absolute value of this, you should get into 1. How do you find absolute value of this? E power j theta is equal to cos theta plus j sin theta. If you find out magnitude of this, we simply going to find out under root squares of this component. So then finally we'll be having 1. So if it satisfies this condition at least, that is called a exponential Fourier series, we say that it is normally going to be the condition for a Fourier series to be represented. So which comes under the weak Dirichlet conditions for us. Right. Apart from this, in the exam, he may ask us about the properties of the Fourier series. Now, what is the meaning of property? Properties are the result of doing the experiment. So in the previous classes, we did an experiment of solving the problems. So when we solve the problems on the Fourier series, what are the results we have obtained and the conclusive remarks of the results applied are normally going to come in the list of the properties. So what are the conclusive remarks we have got? Once we have solved the Fourier series expression for a value, sometimes we have got only an component. Sometimes we have got only bn component. Okay, that means we have got only even function. We have got only odd function. We have got energy signals. We have got a power signals, right? So therefore, the properties of Fourier series results into getting a energy signal, results into getting a power signal, results into getting a even signal, results into getting an odd signal, or combination of even and odd, all the harmonics, right? It results into a odd harmonic signals only, results into even harmonic signals only. So like that we got these combinations. So therefore the Fourier series is going to exhibit all these 4 to 5 properties. So this is what regarding the properties of the Fourier series. Now we move on to the next topic in this particular unit, which is going to be the Fourier transforms. So here Fourier transforms, Fourier series, Fourier transforms, Laplace transforms, Z transforms are known as tools normally used to transform the signal in time domain into some other domain. So that is what called the various transformation tools. So we can call this Fourier transform, Z transform, Laplace transform as the Fourier are known as something like transformation methods or transformation tools that we can really speak about. So here using this Fourier transforms, what we are doing actually, we are simply representing the signal which is given in the time domain into a frequency domain. So using Fourier transform, we normally going to represent the signal in the frequency domain. So this is what a very important thing we have to understand, the concept we have to understand here. So what we see in the real time, we see the signal in the real time in a time domain, something like this, the output of a CRO. See, the output of a CRO, we are going to see like this, maybe a sine wave, maybe a square wave, maybe a train of ramp pulses, we are going to see. So these are the outputs of a CRO. These are something like known as a real-time signals under consideration. So this is what actually we see is called a real-time signal, right? So this type of signal is known as a time domain signal. Now why we call it as a time domain? Because this signal is varying with respect to time. We call it as a time domain signal. Now another domain signal is going to be known as a frequency domain signal. So if you represent the same signal with respect to frequency, it's simply going to become a frequency domain signal. So in this particular transformation techniques, we are not converting the signal from one form to another form. We are simply representing the signal in another form. That means actually the signal is going to be same, but the same signal we are representing in the another domain. So that is called a frequency domain. So using Fourier transforms, we normally going to represent the time domain signal into a frequency domain signal. So that is what all about the Fourier transforms which we normally going to have. Now when we have the Fourier series, why we are going for Fourier transforms? That is the question. That means what are the drawbacks of the Fourier series? The Fourier series is only applicable to what? Is only applicable to the periodic signals. So when it comes to the aperiodic signals, Fourier series cannot give the solution. Fourier series cannot represent the aperiodic signal mathematically. So therefore, we normally go with the Fourier transforms to represent the aperiodic signals also, apart from the periodic signals, using the mathematical equation. So that is what called the Fourier transforms. So why we go for Fourier transforms is the basic reason is only that. So the major drawback of the Fourier series is that it will fail to represent the signal in the it is failed to represent a non-periodic signal. That is the main failure of this. So all the naturally processed signals which need processing will be in the form of a non-periodic signals or aperiodic signals. So aperiodic signal is also going to be a form of the signal which we normally going to process at the system level. So therefore we need to compulsory understand the signal representation of the aperiodic signals also. See, all these are what simply when you pass a signal, say for example, you have a fundamental signal at the input, which has got only one frequency component. Now, when you pass this signal through an amplifier or through a diode, the output of a diode and an amplifier is going to get generated with many other harmonics along with the fundamental frequency. So why this harmonics got generated is simply because of the noise which is been added in the system. Many infinite number of harmonic components are simply going to get added to the original signal. But now the problem is that in the time domain, we really cannot see all these harmonic signals. We see as if like whatever input we have given, we simply got the same output. But as far as the every part of the signal is concerned, that is not the true result. What we see is not exactly correct. So that is the reason why we go with the frequency domain analysis. So frequency domain analysis is another domain analysis of a signal for more information in order to extract more information of the signal regarding the amplitude of the signal with respect to frequency, and if at all we want to see any changes are there with respect to phase of the signal also, we can normally go with the Fourier transform representation. So if at all we wanted to see the frequency, if at all we wanted to see the amount of phase change at the output of a system, then we simply use a Fourier transform representation to see the amount of phase change that took place in the output. Say for example, before the system, imagine that the signal phase is 0. After the system processes the signal, the output of a system is going to get produced with a phase of around say 30 degrees, starting with a phase of 30 degrees. Means what? There is a delay in the phase of the signal at the output. Now to understand about the delay that we have, we should compulsorily depend on the Fourier transforms. So Fourier transforms is normally going to do, but actually what we want the signal which is going to start at 0 degrees only. Unfortunately, because of the system problems, because of the system losses, right, we have got the signal at a 30 degrees phase delay. Now we have to simply shift this signal once again to the appropriate position. So that means what? We have to simply shift, that's called time shifting property. By using the time shifting property, left shift, right shift, we are going to shift that particular signal after we understand about the signal deviation with respect to the phase of the input signal. So like that, for that particular cases to analyze, we normally going to go with the frequency domain analysis. So frequency domain analysis is normally done in order to understand about the signal in terms of frequency variations. At what frequency, sometimes at certain frequencies, the amplitude is going to be more. Certain other frequency components, the amplitude is going to be less. So to understand about the amplitude of the signal at various frequency components, we go with the Fourier transform. And also to understand the phase delay or phase difference between the input and output signal of a system, we normally go with the what is that Fourier transform technique. So this is a technique which normally use. So what is the point which you have to remember in the mind for the examination point of view for defining the frequency Fourier transform? So here the thing is that in this chapter we discuss about Fourier transform, which is mostly used to analyze. That means Fourier transforms are used to analyze aperiodic signals and can be used to analyze periodic signals also. So it overcomes the limitations of the Fourier series. So that is what basically, in short, the Fourier series usage. Now already in the previous sessions we discussed about a periodic signal and an aperiodic signal. So what is a periodic signal? Any signal which is going to satisfy this particular property of x of t plus capital T is equal to x of small t, x of t. So this capital T is nothing but time period of the signal. And this equation is going to be true for all the time ranging from minus infinity to plus infinity. That means the signal is going to have the same form over the entire time duration. Then that type of signal is simply going to be called as a periodic signal. Is going to be called as a periodic signal. So that means the in periodic signal is a signal which is going to get repeated itself, over the interval of minus infinity to plus t is known as a, and satisfies this following condition, is known as basically a periodic signal for us. So we know the basic definition for frequency is equal to 1 by t. So I can write this as something like omega is equal to, we know the relationship 2 pi f, right? So using this equation I can write f is equal to I can write something like omega by 2 pi, or f is equal to I can write 2 pi by t. So this f I can write as what now? F is equal to I can write as 2 pi by t. Okay, so that is what another relationship which we're going to have for this. All right. So this is the representations of the frequency in terms of the time and this one. So this frequency is represented over a 2 pi radians. Frequency of a signal with respect to 2 pi radians we can represent like this. Now here, final conclusion remarks of the periodic signals is going to be what now? Normally power signals are periodic signals. For such signals, Fourier series can be used for its analysis. So usually power signals are known as the periodic signals. Power signals are known as the periodic signal. That means what? The energy should exist throughout the spectrum. Then I normally going to get the power. So therefore, power signals are going to be periodic signals. Energy signals are aperiodic signals. For such signals, Fourier transform can be used for their analysis. So energy signals are going to be non-periodic signals. That means energy signals are applied over a limited period of time duration. So if it is going to be finite, we say it is going to be energy signal, and we extend this for infinite duration. When you extend this for infinite duration, it becomes a periodic, and there from that we normally going to get the power of the signal. So this is what basically, now when I say infinite duration, you should think about the representation of a signal with respect to time, fixed time. So if the signal is represented with respect to fixed time and find a finite value of it, then we normally going to get the energy of a signal. Energy means what? Integral of x square of t dt is called energy signal over a limited interval of time period. If this function is going to exist, it is going to get a finite value, it is called as energy signal. Now if we extend that particular signal over a time period t tends to infinity, we definitely going to get the power signal out of it. So that means when you extend a periodic, we get a periodic, and if that particular extension is going to be true for all the time periods, then we normally obviously going to get a periodic signal. Periodic signal means what? The same signal value should get repeated continuously over infinite duration of time period. It is something like, say, imagine if this is the signal I have, if I am starting from 0 or otherwise. Now this signal is going to get repeated after this particular time duration also continuously. The value is going to be same continuously over the infinite duration of time period, to call it as a periodic signal. So energy means what? We just consider the signal finite value over a fixed interval of time, say minus t by 2 to plus t by 2 if we consider. We find out energy in this fixed duration. If we got a finite value, this is nothing but a periodicity. It's not, we are not bothering about the other signal time periods. We bother about only single time period, and we'll find out the finite value of this particular signal, which is called as energy signal. And we extend, this is nothing but a periodicity. When you extend this for infinite duration, it's simply been represented or converted into a periodic signal. So therefore, power signal is going to be periodic signal, energy signal is going to be a periodic signal, right? Now, what is the physical representations of periodic signal? These are the physical representations of periodic and aperiodic signals. See here now, always discuss, consider with respect to zero, right side of zero, left side of zero line. So we have a signal here, right side of zero. There is a time period. So whenever you discuss about this, consider the entire time period for periodicity. So if you consider this time period T, now next time period it is simply going to get repeated. Next time period previous is going to get repeated. So otherwise, if you take minus t by 2 to plus t by 2, this is the signal we have, and this signal is getting repeated once again. Similarly, all these signals. So therefore, these signals simply are known as the periodic signals, because the waveform is simply getting repeated for all the time periods here. Therefore, it comes under the periodic type of the signals. The next case is going to be the aperiodic signals. In this aperiodic signals, what is that? See here, we just see up to from here to here, we got some kind of a signal like this. After this, the signal value has become equal to 0. So immediately, if you consider this as a time period t, immediately next time interval, you should have the same kind of a signal. Then only we can call it as a periodic signal. Otherwise, it simply goes into the aperiodicity. It simply goes into the aperiodicity, right? So it is nothing but saying it as a finite number of discontinuities. So the discontinuities it is going to have should be compulsorily finite. If you see the discontinuities here, it is finite. The signal is changing at a finite intervals of time period, and the signal change is going to be uniform throughout the spectrum. So it is called a periodicity. So if it is not so, it is simply, see here, we have a square wave, we have a pulse signal here in some duration, then it is changing into some other thing, and once again changing in some other time, and it is going to be 0 later on. Now, this type of signal is also going to be comes under the aperiodic type of the signals. Now, next part is going to be the mathematical equation part of the representation of the Fourier transform representation. Now, in Fourier transform, what is the meaning of Fourier transform? We are simply converting a time domain signal x of t into a frequency domain signal. Don't see about integration, just to understand the concept. See, understanding concept is what you should understand in a very simpler manner. When you write it on the paper, you should write it as per the concept which is there in the book. So as per the definition, you have to write. To understand, you should understand in a simpler terms. When you write it in a systematic manner. That is what the basic concept which we are going to have in engineering. So obviously here on the right hand side, see x of t I have. On the left hand side, what I have? X of omega. So here this is small x, this is capital X. And this is t indicates time domain represented function, it is x of t. X of omega is nothing but frequency domain represented function. So we are converting time domain signal into the frequency domain by simply multiplying this time domain signal with e power minus j omega t dt. Now, what is the meaning of this e power minus j omega t dt? The meaning of this is something like we are multiplying the signal with all the complex components around the signal under consideration. to get the frequency domain representation of this particular signal. So this equation has been given by a mathematician. Now here we have to understand the perspective of a mathematician and engineer. So the engineer will be happy always if it really works for him, whereas mathematician won't happy if it really works for him. Mathematician will try to give the complete solution, will try to give the solution to, to up to infinite number of values. So he has to give an exact result, exact answer has to be given by the mathematician, whereas engineer need not give an exact answer. Engineer has to give an appropriate answer. That is what basically engineer and a mathematician. So here this equation has been given by a mathematician, so that is why he has to give all the components on the frequency spectrum for this particular signal at the output of a system. So what I mean to say is something like, imagine that this is a signal now. Now this signal this is the output of a signal, output of a system, for example, say output of an amplifier, output of a diode rectifier or diode circuit. Now I want to represent this in the Fourier series. To represent this Fourier series, I have to find out all the components, all the frequency component amplitudes in this particular duration under consideration. So in this case, around this particular signal, you're going to have so many infinite number of harmonic, exponential harmonic components. So which are nothing but the noise pulses or noise impulses or noise signals. So which you cannot see in the time domain. So this also you have to consider whenever we represent the complete signal at the output of the system. That is what the representation given by the mathematician. So therefore, to represent for a signal, signal is known as a vector representation. So, and we have to represent signal over the integration, because whenever we represent a signal in the continuous time domain, we simply represent that by using integration, because we have to represent over the spectrum, over the limits, it should be continuous. Therefore, we simply apply integration, integral of x of t power minus j omega t dt. So when you are moving in the forward direction, we represent obviously e power minus j omega t, because minus t is nothing but the forward movement, whereas plus t is going to be the advanced movement. That means reverse of the zero axis movement. That is what time shifting property we use here to simply represent. So this is a representation of the Fourier transform which you have to understand. So if you represent omega is, if you write omega is equal to 2 pi f, the form is going to become something like this. Now similarly, this Fourier transform is going to be reversible. That means you can reverse the Fourier transform also. That means when a time domain signal is given to us, we can find out the Fourier transform representation in mathematical form. Similarly, when a Fourier transform is given to us, we can find out the inverse, that is the reverse, that is the time domain representation of the Fourier transform. So therefore, it is normally going to support the reversible property. Reversible property, Fourier transform is reversible. So therefore, we can form a Fourier transform pair, x of t and x of omega are going to form a Fourier transform pair. This is a representation of this particular Fourier transforms. So from x of t, we can represent x of omega. From x of omega, we can represent x of t. So it is represented by arrow. On this arrow, we write f of t, ft. It's called a Fourier transform representation. So this is the mathematical representation, pictorial form of data flow from x of t to x of omega transformation, x of omega to reverse transformation, x of t. Okay. Now, if you see this signals now, this is a periodic signal because the signal is getting repeated itself after every time interval t, after every time interval capital T. Now, what about here? The signal is not repeating. So it is after this time interval, it is simply zero. That means it is not repeating itself. So this signal is known as a aperiodic type of the signal. So whatever we do now here is we simply going to derive a Fourier series equation from the, we derive the Fourier transform equation from the Fourier series equation. That means we take the reference as the periodic signal and we represent this periodic signal in terms of the aperiod. Can we represent? Yes, of course we can represent, because we have to simply cut down the limits. Under limitations, this periodic signal can be converted into a periodic. A large signal can be converted into a small signal. So that's what we are doing here. Large part of the signal is simply getting converted into the small part of the signal. So a periodic signal. So let x of t is a periodic signal. So I can say this x of t over a time period t tends to infinity is going to be called as x of t. Now with suffix t is nothing but it shows the periodicity of the signal. Now we have represented this periodic signal using the exponential Fourier series with this equation x of t is equal to sigma of Cn e power j n omega naught t. Now where Cn is equal to, we represented also this, we derived this also for the coefficient of the exponential Fourier series as integral of minus t by 2 to plus t by 2 x of t e power minus n omega dt, where omega naught is equal to 2 pi by t. Already we defined this. Now based on this, we can just simply write down this. Now where I can write this as Cn into t is equal to this RHS part, I can simply replace as it is. Now for simplicity's sake, we take n omega naught is equal to omega as t tends to infinity, because we are converting from infinite time into the fixed time. So as t tends to infinity, what is omega naught? Omega naught tends to 0. Why? Because omega naught is equal to 2 pi by t. T is infinity. 1 by infinity. Something by infinity is what? 0. Therefore, omega naught tends to infinity. So that means here we will be simply getting into what form now? I can write this equation as t into Cn is equal to, I am applying limit t tends to infinity. N omega naught I am replaced with omega. X of t has become into x of t now here. And e power minus j omega naught t dt. Okay. So that is the equation I can have over here now. Now I can arrange this equation as something like, I have to represent this in terms of the aperiodic signal. Now for this, what I'll doing now, I'll simply take this limitation inside the integration, where I can represent it like this. Then after this, I write this t into Cn is equal to integral of. Now what is this signal representation? Limit of x of t of t. It is nothing but x of t for me. So therefore this I am writing it as x of t, which is the periodic signal representation, into e power minus omega t dt. So this t into Cn is equal to, what is the equation here we have? Integral of x of t e power minus j omega naught t. So this is the equation for the Fourier transform we have given in the earlier case. X of omega is equal to x of t into e power minus j omega t dt. So how did we write this? Mathematician has given this equation with the concept. So therefore you have to remember this equation as a concept, which is the basic equation to start with in the Fourier transforms. So this equation has to be written based on the concept only. Therefore, understand the concept and write this equation with respect to the concept. That is what important. Then let us move on to the point where we left over just now. Let us move on to this. So therefore, this integral of x of t into e power minus j omega t over the limits minus t by 2 to plus t by 2 is nothing but is equal to x of omega, which is known as the Fourier transform representation of the time domain signal. Therefore, x of omega is equal to, what I can write this as here as now, x of omega I can define as, because x of omega is equal to this, I can write this. Okay. All right. So x of omega is equal to t into Cn I can write. And we have just spoke that it is going to be reversible. It is going to be reversible. For reversible property, I can for reversible property, what I can have now, x of t is equal to, I can write this using the exponential Fourier series, same form now. Once again, we start with the same form. And Cn. So just now we got Cn equation. Cn is equal to x of omega by t. So this coefficient now I am writing in terms of the frequency domain. So on the RHS side, I am writing the frequency domain. On the LHS anyway, I am having the time domain. That means it is a reversible property I am doing now. Into e power j and omega naught t dt. So this t is nothing but equal to 2 pi. I will be considering for 2 pi radians. So I can just simply write down this. Since t is equal to 2 pi by omega naught, so this t I am replacing with what? 2 pi by omega naught. So 2 pi will come here, omega naught will be there over the 2 pi radians. I can write it for a fundamental frequency. So x of t, okay, so x of t, this x of t, I can write this as what? X of t. For the limits of this limit, I can write this as equal to x of t. So therefore, I can write this as applying limits on LHS and RHS. I can write this as something like applying limits on RHS. I can write limit t tends to infinity as 1 by 2 pi is a constant. Take it outside. I can write it like this. Now, as t tends to infinity, omega naught tends to 0. Tends to 0 means what? It is becoming infinitesimally small. Becoming 0 means what? It is becoming very, 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 very small. Infinitesimally small. Therefore, infinitesimally small component will represent by d omega. That is the differential component, very small component. So I can replace this omega naught as d omega naught. And n omega naught is represented with simply omega. So e power j omega, j omega, omega t. This is x of omega as it is. And this summation simply becomes equal to integration. Right. How the summation becomes into integration? See here, how is that consideration we have here? We are simply taking a very, very small part of this signal and we are taking all these values continuously. So therefore, we are simply going to convert this discrete form into a time domain form because we are taking the discrete values and considering them continuously over the infinite time duration. Therefore, I simply convert this summation into integration because I am simply converting into the infinitesimally small values of omega. So therefore, it is simply converting into the continuous time domain. So with this, I can say x of t is equal to 1 by 2 pi integral of x of omega e power j omega t d omega. So this is the reversible or inverse Fourier transform equation. So therefore, finally, what I can write this as x of omega can be written as equal to applying a Fourier transform to x of t, and similarly x of t is equal to applying inverse Fourier transform of this particular equation. It is something like cos theta, cos inverse theta. That's the same form we normally going to have. So this is what the representations of the Fourier transform. By this, I can say that it is simply going to form a Fourier transform pair. So in the next session, we normally discuss with the problems on the Fourier transforms. So with that, doing that problems, we finish up with the Fourier transform techniques. So with that, we can complete that particular, the present unit we can easily complete. So thank you very much for the today's session. Now remember these two equations and practice this entire derivation. Practice this entire derivation because many times this derivation has been asked in the examination for 10 marks. So therefore, please go through this derivation, practice in your notes, keep it for the examination purpose. Okay. Thank you very much for the today's session.